right, greetings. What's good, everyone? This is Chris Dixon, and I am back with another video. Hope all is good and well with everyone. On this particular video, I will be sharing with you all my second Jinn Magick Ritual Templates video. And I will be sharing with you all how to carry out one of the rituals from Baal Kadmon's book, Jinn Magick. How to bind the jinn to do your bidding. All right, as you can see right here, I have my 2 candles. I have my incense, okay, in the incense bowl. I have my black mirror that I utilize to pull the jinn through from their realm into this one. And right here, I have my magical ring, also known as Solomon's ring, which has the hexagram on top. The hexagram is used to bind spirits to in ceremonial magic. All right, so this is the particular ring that I use for Baal Kadmon's rituals to bind the jinn to. All right, but you can also use a crystal as well to bind the jinn to. And his book, of course, mentions different crystals that you can use for the binding process. All right. Over here, I have my written request. Right here, I have the templates from Corin Hargrove's book, Practical Jinn Magic, that has the Brahatia Conjuration Oath, the angels, the 4 elder Jinn Kings, and I also have King Paimon included as another intermediary, in which King Paimon, of course, is from Goetia, the Ars Goetia, and he also has control over jinn as well. So this is the particular template from Corin Hargrove's book that I also use when I am utilizing Baal Kadmon's book. All right, but you don't have to use this particular template if you don't want to. You don't have to use the angels, the Brahatia Oath, King Paimon, or the 4 elder Jinn Kings. All right, but you do have to consort with the 7 Jinn Kings that corresponds to each of the 7 days of the week. Okay, you cannot work with the jinn or make contact with the jinn unless you come through the hierarchy of kings. All right, so very important to remember, okay, when you are doing Jinn magic. All right, so let's get right into the ritual. I'm not going to turn the lights off, of course, so that you all can see. Me personally, I do my rituals at night due to the fact that I'm more focused and it's not a lot of distractions going on compared to the daytime. All right, but that's optional. You can do your rituals in the day if you choose to. All right, but it's up to you. All right, so before you begin your ritual, you want to take you some time to meditate and prepare your mind before you begin. So take about 3 to 5 minutes to meditate, work on some breathing. All right, and you also want to visualize in your meditation your ritual being carried out successfully. So you want to see yourself having your request fulfilled. All right, so see yourself having the things that you desire from your request. Visualize that and take that into the ritual, and that will also amplify the ritual as well. All right. And of course, another reason I like to use the Jinn Kings or the Elder Jinn Kings along with the angels is because they add, extra protection, to the ritual. All right. Of course, along with King Paimon as well, they all add, extra protection to the ritual. All right. And they also, enjoy partaking in helping you obtain your desires, so to speak. So Corbin Hargrove's templates is very powerful. All right. So that's another reason why, I utilize them in my rituals, even when I'm doing Baal Kadmon's rituals. All right. So let's get right into it. So after you take you some time to do your meditation, 3 to 5 minutes, you then want to go into your ritual. All right. So let us begin. In the beginning, there existed the great primordial nothingness. And out of the great primordial nothingness came forth divine light and divine creation. All right. I'm going to use my little torch over here to light my incense so that it can get started more quicker. Blow it off a little bit. All right. So now the incense is going. All right. So now we can go right into the requests. First, I'm gonna go into the template. I now recite the Brahatia, Taka, Zariel, Shakamuniish, Eye, Asher, Eye, Adonai, Tasabavat, El Shaddai, Malik, Mashlamun, Tatliah, Masjal, Tarkab, Kal Nahud, Braheullah, Kazmaz, Shemhahir. I call upon the angels. Jibriel, 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 Mikael, 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 Israfil, 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 Israel, 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 Azazel, Azazel, Azazel. I now call upon the 4 elder Jinn Kings. Mazir, 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 Kamtam, 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 Kazwara, 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 Ta'ikal, Ta'ikal, Ta'ikal. I also call upon King Paimon. Paimon, Paimon, Paimon. Now we're ready to go into the ritual request. This particular request is going to be for psychic powers, okay? So pretty much to enhance current psychic abilities. So it begins. O great Jinn King, Murrah al-Abyad Abu al-Harith, may your presence be known at this moment. I ask of you that you send one of your emissaries to be my guiding voice. I ask that they assist me in enhancing my telepathic and psychic powers. I ask that you will send your emissary my way. So this is when you pick up either your ring or your gemstone and you hold it over the incense in front of the mirror. Okay, now you will be in a dark room. It's best that you will be in a dark room for this. You will gaze into the black mirror. All right, more than likely you will see the face of Jinn. All right, mainly through your senses, okay, or in your mind's eye. That's how they appear. You will then ask this particular Jinn its name. All right, it will give you a name. If it does give you a name, you will hear that name, okay, through telepathy. All right, no matter how odd it sounds, that is the name that you go with. All right, if it does not give you a name, just simply say Jinn. Okay, just simply refer to it as Jinn. All right, and if it gives you a name, you know, you can write it down on paper so that you can remember, all right, the name. But you can also call it, or just simply say Jinn. All right, and of course, you know, you can ask it which particular class of Jinn that it belongs to. It may or may not give you an answer. If it does, that will give you the insights what type of Jinn that you're working with. All right. So once you do that and you have a name, or if you're just simply going to call it Jinn, all right, you then go on to say, by the power of Murah al-Abyad Abu al-Harith, I bind you, Jinn, to this ring to enhance my psychic powers. So the Jinn will then come through the mirror into the particular item that you're using, whether it be a ring or a crystal, okay? So in my case, it would be a ring, all right? So it comes through the black mirror, which is a portal, into the ring, all right? And then you will go on to say, you are now bound by me, by this ring, to provide me with the abilities that I request, all right? And then you blow out the candles. So after you have the Jinn bound to either your ring or your gemstone, you can either, of course, if it's a ring, you wear it, you know, on you throughout your day, or if it's a gemstone, you can carry it in your purse or your mojo bag. You know, you can keep it in your pockets, you can keep it in your backpack, you know, if you have a backpack. But you want to make sure that you do not lose it. All right, make sure that you do this process very focused, okay? And when you go about your day, make sure if you're carrying it on you, that it remains on you at all times, all right? And you never want to have the Jinn bound to your item no more than, you know, 3 days, maybe 4, okay? But within that time frame, you should be seeing, you know, results, okay? Or at least are on the correct track, you know, of obtaining the results, all right? Because one thing about Jinn, you know, they don't like being bound to this physical realm, all right, for a very long period of time, all right? Because remember, Jinn, they have their own families, all right? And of course, they exist in their own realm. And after a certain period of time, they're going to want to get back to their realm, to their families, and things of that nature. So if you feel this strong nudge to release the spirit, I would say after, 2 days, that is more than likely a sign that the spirit is ready to be released. All right. Or even if you hear the spirit, so if you are already, psychic and your clairaudience is very sharp, the spirit will tell you directly, I'm ready to be released. Please release me. I've gotten you on the correct track to getting you the things that you need. All right. So it's time for me to be released. So when you hear things like that, that is when it's time to let the spirits go. All right. So when you release the spirit, you can either do it at your altar space, or if you feel the need to do it outdoors, you can do so. Let me take my ring off. There we go. So the way that you release the jinn is you hold it. In this case, I'm at my altar space, so I'll hold it up, and then I will say, by the power of the great Jinn King Murray al-Abyad Abu al-Harith, I now release you, Jinn, all right, from my service. Go and do me no harm. And it is done. So once I do that, I'll cleanse my ring, whether it be with some Florida water. I'll cleanse it with sage, and then I'll let it sit in my windowsill, okay, for a few days until that particular energy resides, okay? And then I'll be able to use my ring again. If you're using a gemstone, okay, you can always dispel or dispose of the crystal, okay? You don't necessarily have to keep the crystal if you don't want to. If you choose to keep the crystal, you want to cleanse it with sage and then let it sit in the windowsill for a few days until the energy has resided, all right, or dissipated, so to speak. And then you can use that particular crystal again if you choose to, but you can always get rid of it and get a new, all right? But that's pretty much the approach, okay? And utilizing the binding method, all right? You also want to keep the name of the Jinn King who you consorted. You want to keep the templates on you throughout your day, so in case you have to release the spirits, all right, you already have the template with you, so you can go ahead and release the spirit, if you need to do it throughout your day. All right. That's pretty much it. If you, of course, use the template that I gave out, using the angels and even, the 4 elder Jinn Kings, you don't really have anything to worry about. Of course, coming through the 7 kings, that operates under the elders, consorting with them first, to make sure that your request is given to a jinn to be carried out. They themselves, of course, as the kings, they will be overseeing the ritual as well. So you should have enough protection. Okay, you don't really have to worry about any type of mischief or anything like that. If you follow this template the way that I gave it out. Because of course, Jinn, sometimes they can stick around because they do have free will. You know, sometimes they may try to stick around and cause, you know, some form of mischief or something of that nature. But all you have to do is consort with the Jinn King, all right, and that should, you know, resolve that particular issue, you know, if you're having that particular issue. But like I said, if you also include the elders in the ritual along with the angels, you more than likely won't have that particular issue, all right? And of course, you know, you can utilize Corin Hargrove's book. You know, he has a somewhat of a exorcist type of ritual. It's called Scatter the Jinn. You know, if you're having any type of problems out of Jinn, you know, you can utilize his ritual, and that will cause the Jinn to retreat. All right. So I've given out, you know, some safety tips, you know, some safety approaches, and utilizing this form of magic. All right. So you should be good. Hope that you all enjoyed it. Like, subscribe to the channel, share with others so that I can reach more people. I hope that you all will see the results that you are seeking, okay, from the Jinn. Another thing I want to put out too, just make sure that you are working with them for, you know, practical reasons. You know, don't, you know, summon these spirits for, you know, foolish reasons. You know, always be into the magic, you know, for the right reasons, to grow, to evolve spiritually, you know, and things of that nature. All right. So also take that into consideration as well. Okay. So until next time, I will talk to you all later. You all be safe. Peace.